Okay. Hello, everyone. It's great to have you here. I'm officially kicking off this monthly meeting, which is actually closing the year for us. So this will be the last session of the year, which is exciting. I hope my recording works because it seems I hope we have a recording at the end of the day to share with everyone here. In any case, if that recording doesn't work, I'll make sure that at least the slides are available. Okay, so let me share with you my desktop, and we'll go through my presentation. And I hope you guys are seeing this. And today, as I said, this is December, so our last session of the year. Our agenda, as we try always, will give you a short update of where the Rapido community is, especially at the end of the year. This is exciting. And we are already starting a new year in terms of Rapido, so we're going to take a look at the Rapido January release. And we have a little corner for frequently asked questions, so we'll get there as well. In addition to that, I would like to remind you that you can reach out to us, and if there's something that you want us to include in the frequently asked questions, just send me a note and we'll try to cover it. I don't want to promise it, but we'll try to cover it. Okay, so let's start with what's happening with the Rapido community. Okay, so really, what an amazing year for Rapido. I cannot tell you the whole story behind the scenes, but I'll give you some numbers that can give an indication of where we are with Rapido, which was actually, just as a reminder, was in general availability since March 2021. So since then, which is a year and a half ago, something like that, we already have Rapido in 6 different countries, in 6 different regions. There are 90 institutions live in Rapido and many other institutions that are still in the process of implementation, which is fantastic. We have 50 pods, and I know you don't see all of the pods in the Knowledge Center in our documentation, and the reason is that, of course, we have pods that are not open for joining, such as consortial pods that are close to the consortia. But we already have 50 functional pods, and as I always say, if there is need for a new pod, we can always create a new pod. It could be an open pod, it could be a private pod, depending on the specific needs of the community. But those are the numbers. Now, the next numbers are really hard for me to read, so it's what I'm going to show you is the number of borrowing and lending requests done during 2022 through Rapido. Again, this number is not really exact because I took the numbers a few weeks ago, but it gives an impression of the transactions that have gone through Rapido. So it's more than 600,000 borrowing requests and more than 350,000. My God, those are difficult numbers, but of lending requests to Rapido. So a little glimpse on some of our numbers, and if this is interesting, we can share more during the year. Beyond that, again, I want to remind you that we have a new page under our Knowledge Center, under training, which is the Rapido monthly webinars, and you can register there to our next webinar. So next time we're meeting, this will be January 26th. Beyond that, starting with a festive, with the days, the season. So Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. We'll start this session. And of course, I will give time for questions at the end. I think it's the best time for questions. So let's continue. And let's take a look at the January 2023. Okay, so a few things related to our ecosystem and making it easier to do resource sharing. And first development here is related to the integration with ShareIt. So some of your partners, I know that there's some institutions that have partners that use ShareIt. And basically the connection between ShareIt and Rapido is an ISO connection, but things weren't as straightforward between the two systems, and we've done a development to enable that ShareIt, the connection between those partners that are using ShareIt and yourselves that are using Rapido. So if you are doing resource sharing with ShareIt partners and had issues with that, I recommend you try this out, try the connections again. The ISO should be working, and hopefully you will be able to continue with your partnerships in that area. Okay, moving on to the next one. So I want to remind you about the Find Partner functionality in Rapido. So we have a little development, actually not that little development, but we have a development here. Again, the idea is to make it as easy as possible for you to fulfill your borrowing request, find new partnerships, and create an easy way for you to connect to those partners. Again, what I'm showing you here is a borrowing request that is in status created borrowing request. So we didn't find a partner, and automatically by the system, Rapido couldn't find a partner. And I then went through the actions on the borrowing side, selected find partner, and this is the window that opens up. You can see here that I found 28 potential lenders. Again, the idea behind it is that we only see here institutions that have set up that possibility to share their holdings with other Rapido libraries to yes. So potentially there could be more. And as I always like to say, talk to your friends, institutions that have Alma or Rapido. Those that haven't yet done the given access, it would be great if they could, so that we could enlarge the potential members that appear here. And you can see here, just as a reminder, I want to use the opportunity that, for example, here, this specific example says, this partner says that they're providing services for the United States, and they're even giving some type of terms. So again, these are institutions that have added their either in Rapido from the members' information, or if they're not Rapido, they're in Alma. They have added themselves in the directory and provided terms for the resource sharing, and this is really, really important. Okay, so all of this is history. We know that this exists. So what is new? Okay, so what is new actually is the letter. Once you've found a potential lender, what you would actually do next is select those lenders that you want to contact before you send the request. And there is a letter for this purpose. And what we've done here is that we've made it easier to download that partner information. So our instructions to you when using the Find Lender was to use that letter, and the letter explicitly is sent to that lending institution saying, now please look out for us in the directory, download our partner information, and search for us, download the partner information, of course, communicate back to us, and then we've established that connection. So we are actually looking to enhance and make this process more efficient. So first of all, stay tuned for 2023. We have planned some other enhancements around this area, but the enhancement that we're bringing you now is that this letter now has a link that clearly says, if you agree to ship us the resource, please click here to automatically copy the partner information. So actually that little link here is the development that we are bringing you in January. The idea is that this lending is making it easier for these new lenders, so they don't have to go and search for you in the directory. By clicking that link, the partner will be downloaded to their institution. So what is not happening yet, and there might be different opinions here, what is not happening yet is that nothing's happening automatically, which is actually a good thing for some that don't want to start seeing requests from institutions they weren't expecting to receive. So what would be the workflow steps next? It will be the lending library downloads the partner and will probably send you an email back saying, thank you. We've downloaded the partner record. You can now proceed. So you would need to now activate that the ROTA and send a request to that specific lender that has agreed. In terms of what's happening with your letters, if you're using the out-of-the-box letter, the letter now includes the link. If you're not, you might want to check the out-of-the-box letter and add the link to your letter. Okay, so that was regarding the find partner and making this process more efficient. Okay, next we're going to a great new integration. So I want to make sure we have it clear. So this is a new app, very similar to the app that we release by the way that it's working, the Reprints Desk app. We're now releasing a similar app with the Copyright Clearance Center. So the first thing I want to say is don't run and look for the app because we are still finalizing some last details. But this is not related to a release, so you'll see it soon. I'll make sure that we send an announcement. You don't have to wait until February. This will be in the upcoming days. We will send through the Rapido list, and in any other way that I can, we will make sure to send an announcement. But this will be really in the upcoming days. So it could be this week, at the end of this week, or next week. The app will be ready and you can use it. So first thing for me is not to run and look for the app. Of course, you would search Copyright Clearance Center. Once it's there, we'll send an announcement. I do want to cover the functionality because it's going to be soon out there and I want you to know what it is about. So it's very, very similar to what we did with the Reprints Desk app. Let's go through the workflow. Okay, so I have here this borrowing requests and I have you can see here that I fasted by active created borrowing request digital. So I have this borrowing request that wasn't fulfilled. So actually my natural networks couldn't fulfill it. Of course, I know that there are other scenarios in which you might want to use either Reprints Desk or the CCC, but in this case, I'm not dealing with copyrights. I'm more dealing with something that was not found, but of course, you can use it in a different workflow. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for the Cloud app in the CCC Cloud app on the App Center and download it. So this would be the next step if you don't have it. And still, while I'm in focus on that borrowing main task list, the application works in a very similar way as we presented the Reprints Desk flow. So everything that's here on the main task will the app will try to find if the resource is found in the Reprints Desk in the CCC in the Copyright Clearance Center collection, and if it is, it will bring back a price, and if it isn't, it will bring back also a message telling you that we couldn't find it. But the idea here, and I do want to integrate with all of the possibilities that you have, is that now you have two tools or one, depending on what you want to use. But if you want to check what each organization here that can give you some resources has, now you have the power to compare prices. You can make some intelligent decisions. Okay, so we will continue with this flow, but I think that you have to have in mind all of your different possibilities here. So you see here that actually for this particular article that I'm looking for, the CCC has the article and I can see clearly the cost. Once I select it, click on the box, we'll see, first of all, that the borrowing request will be set to the partner. In this case, the CCC. We'll talk more about the naming here. But the request has been sent to the partner. And something really, really important is that the external identifier that you see here has been updated to match the identifier from the Copyright Clearance Center. So this will be your matching point if you need to clarify something with them or something. Let's talk about a little bit about the prerequisites for this to work, and also a little bit more about the workflow, because it's a little bit different than the reprints test workflow. Okay, first thing, if you go to the app, once it will be ready and available for you, there is the settings, there's a little wheel and set for entering your settings. So the first thing you will need to do here is add some of the information, your institution name, and more specifically, I want to talk about this email addresses. So here you have the billing address, but also the ILL email address. And this is one of the big differences between the reprints desk application. For now, and this is due to the limitations or the way the CCC works. For now, once you click that and you set up this email that I recommend, let's say, it's a general ILL interlibrary loan email and not a personal account, but if you need to put a personal account and a personal account, the resource will be sent to this account. Meaning there is some, the process will need, once the resource is sent to the account, you will need to continue to manually handle the request. So let's say you've put the request, you've set up this email, you will receive from the CCC the resource, you will need to upload the file using the ship manually action from the borrowing side to actually fulfill the request for your borrowers. As I said before, we're discussing possibilities with the CCC. They need to develop from their side in order to automate this process. Still, it's a great way to receive your articles, and the CCC are willing to develop. We will, once they have the features that we need, we will also develop from our sites so that the whole process is completely automatic. Again, I do want to remind you about the importance of having the option to compare using the different tools that you now have. To finalize, and just to not forget a little bit of further configuration that will be needed, you will need to, it's very easy, you will need to set up a partner, a new partner. Under fulfillment partners, you will need to set up a new partner. What it's really important for me is the code CCC, maybe the name could be any name, and this is what will be displayed on the partner record. But again, of course, something significant, and the external system should be the profile type, and the system type to be CCC Get It Now. With that, we're done. So there are two components to this new option. One is from the app, setting up that email where the resources will be received, and the second one is setting up the partner, and you're done. Again, from the workflow perspective, the resources will be sent to that email. And we'll see what happens during 2023. As I said, this hasn't been documented, so you won't find it under the documentation release notes, and you won't find it now if you run and look for it. So we'll send a clear message when ready, but it's in the upcoming days. Okay, so I'm moving on into our user-centric corner. And today, actually, I don't have something to bring you under the user-centric corner. There is nothing that I can show you now, but I do want you to know, and also in appreciation to our different teams, also the Rapido team and the CDI team, that there has been a lot of work on the user side. So we're doing a lot of infrastructure work towards discovery improvement. So these are different types of improvements. They're related to selecting the best record, so record qualities in the global title index. There is a bunch of duplications. So there is a lot of work done, not only by the Rapido team, but by other teams All of this has started. We've worked on many issues, but you'll see the improvements later. But I wanted to give you an inside vision of what's happening in the team and where we're focusing. Okay, and our another favorite user of ours is, of course, the staff. So let's talk about some improvements from the staff. Okay, last time we met, we talked a lot about the options of searching the global index. And we talked about creating new requests out of a search from the global index. So aligning the librarians with possibilities that our users had. So if our users had the possibility to create a request, not from a blank form, but from a result, librarians didn't have that option before. So this is what we introduced in the last release. And as I promised, this big development had other areas, and this is what I want to present to you today. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the possibility to enrich a request from the global index. So this is a request that has come in to our system. Actually, I created this request only with a title. You can see it here. I even had something that would add the blank form label. So having the possibility to distinguish how the request was created. I added that before. So you can see here that the blank form label was applied. And really, I didn't add much. I just added the title, not much information. What we've done is we've added to the actions under the borrowing request, we've added a new option, enrich from global index. And once I use this option, the system is going to try to find out what they have using as a core of the search, the metadata that I have here. And the metadata that I have here is only the Sleeping Beauties. This is what the system brings to me. Okay, it actually goes to that global index, finds results, could be a long whole page as you've seen the results, and I can from that option go and select the one that is best suited for this. So of course it means selecting one. So I can select one. By the way, I cannot select two, even though this looks like multi-selection. It's a single selection. I select one. This is the one that I want. I click select. And once I've done that, the full editing page of the request opens up with the information. So I have a clear view of what has happened. And you can see here that my request now has authors and edition and publication date and ISBN, publisher, place of publication, etc. So a lot of information has been added here. And once I click save, the request will be updated. I want to let you will stay on the, I don't remember if you go back to the search index or you stay in this focus, but if you go back into the request, you will see that our request has been, this is exactly the same request, has been updated with all of the information, and most probably it will kick now the possibility of finding a partner because probably it was missing metadata or something like that. I could have, by the way, also mediated by missing metadata, enrich from the global index, and then kick off the complete process. So this is one of the things that we've done around that search on the global index. The second development that we did around this area is something that we really were waiting for. We wanted this. I already know that this was coming. And is more information. So if you recall our last session, or if you played with this, you would have mostly this information, the main title, author information, and ISBNs, the identifiers, OCLCs, that's what we have. So what we've added with this review is, with this version, is we've added the peer review indication, a lot of indications available online of open access this is important information that we want to provide you. But another important indication is whether the request is held at your institution. So this is how it will look. And so now you have a clearer view. I suppose that if you're looking for something and you see that it's on your institution, you might not want to create a request. Yes or no, I don't know. That depends on you. But this was important information that we were missing from those results. So this has been added. Okay. By the way, talking about frequently asked questions, one of our frequently asked questions is who can search the global title index? And the answer is fulfillment service operators or fulfillment service managers. Okay, let's go on. Last time I presented, but actually we didn't release it. So I'm sorry if I confused you, but this time you'll have it for sure. That there is another way to create a request from manually, not manually, create a request from the staff interface using this index. And I did show this split that has changed a little bit. So you'll see this on January finally. And the idea is that in your current release, you have manually and from repository. And from the January release, you'll have manually from search, and you can select either repository or global index. So finally from here as well. So it's something that you probably looked for and maybe didn't find. So it's supposed to be here in January. Okay, so these are big developments around the global index and capabilities. And now I want to walk you through another, I think, very efficient development from the lending perspective. So keeping the balance between borrowing and lending. So let's take a look a little bit at lending. Okay, so this is a development regarding how you deal with your lending request. And the idea is that you imagine that you have a list of requests for which you need to do scans. And you're placing the scans on a directory. And then what you have for now, those of you that are not using any external application, scanning application that can connect to Rapido and automatically close the flow, for now you would scan, place that resource in a location, and then go back to your station and start shipping digitally those resources and closing the request. So it would be like sitting down and ship digitally, ship digitally, ship digitally, ship digitally. There's a new option in the system now to place those requests in a location and actually run a job that will close those requests for you without the need of an external application. So if you remember, we've talked about ScanX, and I don't remember the names of all of the applications. So it would be similar, but without the need of these applications. Okay, it's a different way of doing it. Of course, you can continue to use your manual workflows. This is only if you desire to change your current workflow. So let me walk you through the prerequisites in order for this to work. And then you'll need to decide what you want to do. Okay, so the first thing that you will see is that under the configuration and resource sharing, we've added a Rapido jobs configuration entry. And in the future, if we have new jobs, probably they will be here. But today we only have one, that is the automatically ship Rapido digital request. Note that if you go into your configuration, you'll see that it's inactive. So if you want to work with it, you need to set it to active. As any job in our higher ed platform jobs type of jobs, you will see that you can schedule it and you can set it, you can set the right schedule for this. And the minimum is a schedule of an hour. So it's important to remember, because you might think that this is running at all times, but it's running every hour if you set it to run as so, and that's the minimal spot that you can do. Okay, and of course you can always run it now, right? That's another option. Okay, and the idea is that you can select a resource sharing library and connect it to an SFTP connection type that you've previously set up through Alma as usual. So it's a location where you're placing those requests. If I click add road, because I want to separate all of my members to different directories, I don't know if this is something you'd like to do, but it's possible to do it. I would just need to select the SFTP connection, the work that I'm using, and that will bring me a drop down, and the Rapido member. Here I have only one that I will be connecting to that specific location. So actually what I'm telling the system is, for this resource sharing library, this is the location of where I'm putting my scanned resource sharing requests, and the job will go there and will scan to see if they're new requester. Okay, so a few notes on this. When using this job, the lending file should and must, and this is really important, be saved with the name of the internal identifier, because this is what will be connecting between the request and the specific resource. So if you decide to use this option, very important, the resources need to be saved with the name of the internal, with the internal identifier as the name of the resource. This is one thing. Now, you might want to add the internal identifier to your print letters if you don't have it already there. So this is something to consider if you're going for this workflow. And I won't be showing you the whole thing, the whole directory, how it looks, but I do want you to know that if you select a certain location folder for the resources to be placed, once the job runs, it will move those resources that have succeeded to a new folder of succeeded resource sharing requests that were sent, and will move the failed ones to a failed folder so you can check later. Of course, there's a job report, and the job report will show you basic information such as how many files were processed, how many succeeded, how many failed, and you can add, if you don't have access to this, you can add to the job system notifications, and you will get the notifications with any job. But the whole idea is that this is a new way of making the lending side a little bit more, a lot more efficient if you want. So something to test, think about it, and then you can decide how you want to work. Okay, so another development, something that we did, is that if you were using the scanning in functionality when scanning a barcode, to scan the shipping letter was not printing, so it's we've done that. So I'm showing you here what you should expect to see. So if I go to request, if I go to scanning items and I use the item barcode, I just want to show you because I want you to understand what I've done here. I've set up the automatically print slip to yes, and I've enabled quick printing so that I can show you this. And if I put in the barcode for this specific request, you will see that the printout is actually produced. Of course, the request will be moved into wherever it needs to move. So this covers my highlights of the January release, and we'll now move to the Rapido frequently asked questions, and then we'll open up for questions. Okay, so holidays, I can already feel the holiday season. It's very quiet now. So let's talk about the seasons. And I know you've probably received via the Rapido list, we've also sent this information because we think it's very pertinent. So how to close my lending during the holidays. You might be wondering how to do this in Rapido. And I might say that you might want to also close your borrowing. So we'll touch upon that as well. Or maybe not. It depends on you. Of course, there are times when we need to turn off lending, and this is one of the things that we want to explain, I do want to say from the beginning that the possibilities of turning the lending are divided in two. So we need to close up lending for physical materials, and we need to close up lending for document delivery, which in our terms equals articles and scanning of book chapters or physical articles. Okay, so we'll cover those two, and also how to close the borrowing in case that you need to close your borrowing. Okay, so for closing the physicals, you need to have a general system administrator role, and this is done by going into the library's information, which you configuration, general libraries. In this case, it will be add or edit library. We will be editing the library. So of course, what we'll need to check is that we're editing the right library. So the right library is, of course, a resource sharing library. Okay, so that is the indication. Let's say I want to turn off borrowing, so won't be presenting borrowing requests. I don't know if sites use this, but I'm still going to present it. I see this is my resource sharing library. I can say that I'm temporarily inactive for borrowing, so I'm checking this up, and then I will just select the period that is correct for this action. The same page, but I'm moving, it's a little bit down on the same page. We have the option to close the lending. So again, temporarily inactive for lending. So I select this option and my calendar options for closing the lending. Once I've done this, I won't receive from Rapido requests for physical items, but I'm still going to get requests for digitization requests. So how do we close that? We need to go to the Rapid IL settings. Under the settings here, you have an option. And down here, once you access that, you select add new time and you set up the period that you want, you save, and you're done. So that would be the process of closing your library if in need of closing the library. Okay, so with that, I've covered my slides, so I'm going to stop sharing. Your questions. I just want to say that so I want you to stay tuned, because at the beginning of the year, we will be also releasing our roadmap. Of course, roadmaps might change slightly, but you'll have the opportunity to have a glimpse of what we're planning. And this also will happen January. So there will be a new section under the Knowledge Center, and you will be able to take a peek into our plans. So stay tuned for that as well. And there's a new video under the training section. So I do want you to go. I want you to go and see if there's something of interest there, because we add videos all the time. So I guess this is the time for questions. So I'm going to either try to see if there's something on my chat or my Q&A. Q&A is empty. And the chat is empty. So any questions now? Still not seeing any question. So for now, you know where to find us if there are further questions. For now, I want to wish you a happy new year and happy holidays, and enjoy your time off if you have time off, and your time with your families. And I'll see you next year, guys. So hoping to see you next. And we have some exciting things planned for you, for the community, and continue to work with you. Happy holidays, everyone. Take care. Lots of care.